My Flip English online brand just made 10,000 euros last month. And I did it by helping people go from speaking English like this to speaking English like this. Now, for some of you, 10,000 euros might seem like a really insignificant amount. You might think, well, that's not even that much. I earn more by my 9-to-5 job. For others, 10,000 euros is a fortune. It's something they can't possibly fathom of ever achieving. And today I want to talk to you about the behind the business, the raw, the nitty-gritty, the things you don't get to see when it comes to building or being an entrepreneur. I'm starting this brand new video series because I want to show you the raw business. Behind the scenes, what it looks like to actually start a business, what it takes to be an entrepreneur, the amount of work that we have to put in, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I want to do this not to scare you, not to bolster my ego, but actually to motivate you to start your own thing. Most of what I do with English is trying to help people get started with content, try to help them take their business to a higher level, try to go and motivate you to get started with something of your own, because we're all filled with great stories, we all have amazing hobbies, and we're all filled with skill. But it's how you sell this skill that tends to create problems. So when I first got the idea for Flip English, I thought to myself, well, let's make something different. Let's flip the script upside down and try something that nobody else has tried before. English learning is boring. In fact, if I'm completely honest with you, I hate English. The concept of teaching somebody English is boring. That's why I don't consider myself an English teacher. I consider myself somebody who is going to take your confidence to a new level. That's going to show you that there's a psychological boundary that you have, that there are cultural problems that you're facing because of your native language that cause you to speak English in a particular way. I wanted to really flip the script upside down and show the other side of the coin, the side that the school system failed to, the side that results in so many people around the globe not wanting to expose themselves on a camera and speak, or maybe just try to earn their first couple of dollars with their online business. The number one thing that's actually holding you back from creating anything, whether it's an online business, your brand, selling something online, is that you don't believe that anybody would even buy it. And I was the same. I thought to myself, well, who am I to teach anybody about English? Who am I better fit than all the thousands of people around the world who have graduated from English, got master's degrees in English, have been studying this stuff and, geeking around their grammar and vocabulary and tenses and all that stuff? Who am I to teach anybody anything? Well, turns out that you can sell, and it does sell, and it's making money. And what happens is that your perspective changes. Just a couple of weeks ago, I didn't believe that it was possible to get 10,000 in 1 month. And now I'm asking myself, how can I get 10,000 in 1 week? How can I increase the amount of business and increase the return on investment? Another great example of this is Facebook ads or advertising in general. When I started off with Facebook ads, I was spending about 10 to 20 euros per day, which is still a lot of money. I was thinking like, wow, this is $600 every single month. This is basically half of my paycheck that gets taken away, and there's no guarantee that it's going to make money. Now I'm spending about 100 per day, which is 5 times the amount, but it's also 5 times the results. Now, of course, this doesn't scale infinitely. This doesn't mean that if you're going to spend 1,000 per day that you're going to be making so much money, but it's worth trying. And you don't know until you try. I like to look at business as a video game because I come from the video game background. I spent 10,000 hours playing just one game. I spent so much time uploading to YouTube, creating content, entertaining people on Twitch and so on, that I want to take the chance. Now, of course, in the video game world, it's easier because the money that you're using in a video game is a fake currency. It doesn't exist. In real life, we're playing with our own hard-earned time and money, which means that every time you lose, it really, really hurts. I've had days where several days in a row, weeks at a time, nothing sold. And I was hemorrhaging money. I was throwing money out the window. $60, $70, $80, $100, all of it just flying around. So much money being lost. Until eventually it clicks. Until eventually you figure out the algorithm. And eventually you get your new coaching client. And eventually, it's all a matter of time. But of course, in today's day and age, when everybody wants instant results, they want instant gratification, they want immediate money, quick cash doesn't exist. And I have to play the long game. In fact, the 10,000 euros that I just made are going to be, that's right, reinvested. They go right back into the circulation of cash. I'm not going to pull them out. I'm not going to buy myself something nice. I'm going to continue spending more money on ads, more money on video editing, more money on new ways to create, develop, expand my business. And the reason I'm doing this is because I believe in the longevity. I have to look years ahead. I have to see the vision of Flip English as a worldwide brand 5, 10, 20 years down the line. And this is precisely where the fallacy happens. Because if I speak to any of my friends, and I have a lot of great friends who are also entrepreneurs, who are great at business, maybe better than me at business, they, even though they understand the backbone, will still lead me astray. They will still say, this isn't worth doing it like this, you're doing it wrong, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. They don't see the vision. You have to know that when you have an idea, when you want to sell something, when you want to upload a YouTube video, when you want to create anything, the only person who sees and understands your idea is you. No one else can tell you what you're doing wrong. They don't see the vision. And so you have to be very, very careful from whom you take advice, because you have people that will give you phenomenal advice that you should take home and immediately start to apply. But you'll also get people that will give you advice that's going to bury you alive. In fact, one of my closest friends, and I love him dearly to this day, just about a year ago, I had a bit of a slouch moment. My advertisements were not performing. I wasn't believing in my own brand. And when I spoke to him about Flip English, he said, bro, just stop it. Just, turn it off, shut down the website, stop trying, go do something else. Pivot, right? Change the direction of your business. And I, for some reason, didn't listen to him because it hurt my ego, because I am, to a certain degree, ego invested into the idea of Flip English, which means that I believe in the brand. I believe in the message behind it, of flipping the script and showing people what can be done, what they can achieve with their voice. And as a result, today, I'm sitting here in a very, very good position when it comes to financial, motivation, confidence, and just about the overall belief of the brand. Money isn't everything. In fact, money when it comes to building your brand is the least important thing. But unfortunately, when it comes to business, money is the most important thing, because without it, you can't do anything. If you don't have money, you can't invest into any of your advertisements. If you don't have cash, you can't buy yourself a video editor. In fact, you can't even maintain the domain, the website, the automations, the email sending sequences. Everything requires cash. And this is the part of business people don't see. They see how much money you make, and also your clients, your customers, they will see how much money they have to pay. They don't understand, in most cases, what it takes to actually keep the machine running, what expenses you actually have. Now, in my case, selling an online or digital product, I have very few expenses compared to somebody who, for example, wants to sell a phone, because to sell a smartphone, you have to first get the materials, manufacture them, store them somewhere, put it in a box, ship it across the world. If you have a refund, you have to actually get the phone shipped back to the original location. If something breaks, you have to get the phone shipped back to a place that's going to get it repaired. These people have to be there employed in order to do all these things. For me, as a solopreneur, as a person doing everything alone, I have none of those problems. I can do everything digitally, remotely, with a couple of clicks of my computer mouse. And I did that deliberately because we're living in a modern day and age, and if I have the option to do a business that doesn't involve all those complicated expenses, then I will do so. That, of course, doesn't mean that there are no expenses. There are so many expenses, in fact, that when you look at the total amount of money you've earned, this is called your income. This is not net profit. And unfortunately, a lot of the times what I see online are these videos from these gurus, people who have made it in business, and they want to teach you how to make quick money online. And they talk about their Facebook ad spend. They've spent millions on advertisements, but they don't talk about the profit they've made on the advertisements. They talk about how much money they make each month, but they don't tell you how much profit they're making each month. Because for every income, there's also an expense. And in my case, I can tell you very transparently that even though I had 10,000 worth of income, I had 5,000 worth of expenses. That's 50% of all the money that came in came right back out. Now, of course, what I do as a smart business person is I try to make sure that these expenses are, well, they're classified as expenses, but a lot of them are considered investments. Because if I take 1,000 euros and I pay a video editor to create a nice fancy video like this one, that will actually pay dividends over time. If I was to spend this 1,000 euros on, just website maintenance, then that wouldn't really have nearly the same effect. 1,000 euros put into Facebook or Google advertisement or TikTok ads or whatever else exists, that brings money back. Which means, in theory, if I spend $1,000 and I get $1,000 back, what I've actually done is I just had free advertisement. And in most cases, that is precisely how my business model currently runs. So for anybody who's really, really interested, this is me being 100% transparent with you. I run Facebook ads in order to get people to buy my ebook with the hopes of it being a net zero. I don't care if I lose a little bit of money. It's great if I make a little bit of money, but as long as I'm right there with expense equals income, I'm happy, because that means that more people have found me online, more people have followed my profile, more people get in contact with my brand, my business, with my story. And that to me is free advertisement. It's the equivalent of organic content, if you think about it in some shape, way, or form. But of course, what also happens is when people get access to you, you start to reach out to certain individuals who have money. And these people also have a problem. Their English sounds a little bit like this. So what happens? Well, you help with their English and you get the money. Boom, business is thriving. And my desire is that throughout the course of Flip English, I can reduce the cost of my entry-level product, which means that more people can get access to better English. And then I can start working exclusively with high-end clients. I prefer working with entrepreneurs, with other business individuals, people who have done something, achieved something, and have a lot of information. Time is money, and my time is valuable, and I've decided to put a price point on it. If you work a 9-to-5 job, then 1 hour of your time is probably worth somewhere between 5 and 15 or 20 euros. That's the reality. Okay, for some jobs it's higher, for some jobs in some regions in the world it's lower. But on average, between 5 and 20 per hour is what people tend to get paid. For me, well, I consider my time a little bit more worthy than that. Now, how worthy is your time? Is it 50, 100, 200? Is it 1,000 per hour? I mean, if you really sit down and think about it, how much is your time worth? That's something you should take into consideration. I cherish my time very, very highly. And if I'm going to spend my time helping somebody out with their English, I also want to learn from them. I also want to surround myself with individuals who have also done something in business. And this is called networking, which we can talk in one of the future videos. Because when you have access to individuals who have done great things, people who are far in front of you in business, people who are not making 10,000 a month, and they're not making 10,000 a week, and they're not even making 10,000 per day, they may very well be making 10,000 per hour. They are the people that I would like to learn from. And the only way to get access to this high superior class of individuals who have actually done some incredible things is by exposing yourself. But of course, in the beginning, when you want to create your business, when you upload your first video, you are afraid of exactly this exposure. Except that you're not afraid of being exposed to somebody who's very successful and rich and affluent. You're actually afraid of being judged by the person who's done nothing, will do nothing, and cherishes his time, rather than making a business by scrolling and commenting on your profile. Why are you stressed out by that person's opinions? I hope that throughout the raw business episodes, we're able to sort of dissect what it takes to build and be an entrepreneur, and hopefully take you one step closer in your journey, that you too start something of your own. I just want to motivate you to do something on your own, because I too didn't believe that this could be done. I'm looking here at a crossover. I want this video to be a memory for me to look back years and think, oh my God, dude, there was a time where I thought that making 10,000 a month was a big deal. Precisely. Because just about a year ago, I didn't believe that getting to 10,000 a month was even possible. It is all in your head, and you have to switch it. But unfortunately, the way that humans are built, until we see it, we won't believe it. So go out there, go through all the cringe, go through all the fears you have, start creating, start making, and start manifesting. And I tell you from the bottom of my soul, your life will flip, change, and become better. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below if there's something that you want to know about what it takes to build a business. What are the things that are holding you back the most? Maybe there's something that you're afraid of. Maybe it's something that's holding you back, thinking, oh, if I start this, then this will happen, that will happen. And you're already creating obstacles for you on your journey. Trust me, there are many obstacles. But if you look at it like a video game, they become challenges, they become side quests, they become fun little bosses that you have to beat in order to get to the end of the game. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.